tuning in to Living on the Cheap and Trying to Figure It Out. Today I'm going to talk about positive thinking. So I read a book recently. First I read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I think that's how you pronounce it, Bryne. And I read it a few years ago and it got me into making, I forgot what they're called. Boards. Wish boards, mind boards, whatever you want to call them. I did a post earlier in the month talking about that and putting up the things you want to achieve, whether in the month, in the few months, in the near future, or in the far future. It's really up to you how you do it and how you approach it. It's all about the way your mind thinks. Now, if you listen to Oprah Winfrey, she always talks about being intentional, living with intent, having intentional thoughts, and that's kind of going back to The Secret. So Rhonda Byrne, that's what I'm going to call her. Sorry if I mucked up her name. She had a newer book come out not that long ago called The Magic, or just Magic, not The Magic. And it goes back into what The Secret is all about. But it gives you step-by-step things to do. And since I've done it, things have changed drastically for me. It's all about thinking positively, putting out positive thoughts. And when you put out open thoughts out into the world instead of negative thoughts, good things happen. And I totally believe this does work. Last year or the year before, I can't remember now, we were in Orlando and we needed to, it was Tampa Bay. Sorry, we were in Tampa Bay and we needed a flight home. And our flight was delayed, so I knew it was delayed. It said on my phone it was delayed. So we went an hour late, but it didn't tell me it was canceled. Wish it had told me it was canceled, quite honestly. So the flight was canceled. There were some engine problems. Thank goodness it was canceled before we got on the flight. So, okay, we have to stay an extra 24 hours. They're going to give us a flight the next day, pay for a hotel, give us vouchers for food, yada yada. Well, there is 4 of us. And when we look at the flight, all 4 of us are separated. So it's me and my husband, my 17 or 16-year-old daughter, and my 9 or 10, 11-year-old daughter. So as soon as we check in, we go to the flight attendant and ask for my youngest, because she is a child, to be with one of her parents. So they called us halfway through the waiting time. You're there 2 hours early or whatever. And they told us, somebody was willing to switch places so that a 9, 10-year-old could be with her father. So that worked out awesome. Now, I had an aisle seat, and my oldest daughter had an inside seat, but they were in separate rows on separate sides of the plane. It was one of those planes that had 3 and 3 on either side. And I kept thinking to myself, I hope someone will switch with me. I hope someone will switch with me because I would love to sit next to my daughter. I hate flying. I do. I do it. I fly. I don't like it. I know it's a fast way to get around, so I do it. It's fairly safe compared to driving, and I drive every day. So when you look at that statistically, there's no reason for me not to like flying, but I really just don't like flying. There's no rhyme or reason, and there's no sanity to why. I just don't. Don't try to email me or comment below about why, okay? I just don't. So anyways, I kept thinking, I really wish somebody would trade seats with me so that I can sit next to Lauren. That's all I kept thinking to myself. Now, people are starting to board the plane, and I got my seat, and I'm sitting there waiting, or standing. I was actually standing in front of my seat, and people are passing. And I hear a gentleman next to me. Same situation. He must have been on the first flight with me, got canceled, had to get on this flight with his wife and infant child. They got separated. He asked somebody if they would switch seats, and that gentleman actually got very upset with him that he paid extra for an aisle seat and would not switch with this father who wanted to be with his wife and child. Now, personally, I think that was a mistake because this guy had to deal with a crying baby next to him every time we ascend, like as we ascend and as we descend. Once we are at climate altitude, then the baby was fine, but I guess it was the ear popping thing, right? And how do you explain to a 2-3-year-old to keep drinking, that the drinking will actually pop your ears and it will work? But 2-3-year-olds are not always reasonable, and neither was this gentleman. So he had to deal with the baby next to him. As more people loaded on, I see the gentleman sit next to my daughter. It's an aisle seat. And I said, "That's my daughter in the middle. Would you like to switch seats?" And he says to me, "I want an aisle seat." I said, "I have an aisle seat." He said, "I have no problem switching." I was so relieved that he switched with me because I'm sure I would have been just terrible flying alone without having to hold someone's hand. Even though she was just across the aisle but not next to me, she was in one person. My husband and my youngest were 10 rows behind us. It was kind of crazy how we were all over the place. Like I said, it worked out. Long story short, it worked out. Positive thinking works out. Now, you can't always use it to think for yourself. Like I kept saying to myself, I really hope somebody will give up my seat so I can sit with my daughter. It was more about sitting with my daughter. It wasn't so much because of my fear. I did not say because I need to, because I have to. Nothing like that. Other instances where this has worked great for me, my husband's a little bit of a pessimist. And getting out of church, when you get 500, 400 people getting out of church at the same time, the parking lot is a mad flipping zoo. And I don't even worry about it. I get in my car and I go, and we're out within 5 minutes. If my husband's driving, I don't know what happens. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to get out of that parking lot every time he drives. He no longer drives out of church. Only I do. He drives to church. But again, it's all about the positive thinking. I don't think anything about it. I don't worry about it. Where he's like, hurry, hurry, we got to beat the crowd. We got to beat the crowd. And we end up getting stuck in the crowd every time. So again, I really recommend reading the book Magic by Rhonda Bryne. I almost forgot her name. Or reading The Secret. It's not stuff you don't know, I will tell you. But once you start writing a journal and being thankful for everyone and anyone you see, and being very thankful for what you have, and thankful for the people who work that you pass, I always really appreciate the waiters and waitresses I meet. Not that I meet many these days because of my new budget plan, but I do, or the cashiers at the grocery store, or the bank tellers. These are not high-paid jobs, and they're always appreciative when you say thank you. And not just a mindless, oh, thank you, as most Canadians do, but really mean it with intent, that your life will become more positive. And I don't know if it's just maybe because I'm starting to see things with rainbows because I am being more positive, but I totally recommend it. Give it a try. If you have any comments, write them down below. Please subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.